Well over 100 times the Bible tells us to be not afraid or fear not or don't worry or be anxious about anything. Yet in sports, we constantly feel the pressure to perform. We're afraid of letting ourselves down, letting others down. It's like, okay, why is that? Where's the disconnect? Well, today we're going to talk about pressure and how we can use pressure in our sport to glorify God. We are the Varsity Catholic Podcast.
Welcome back to the Varsity Catholic Podcast.
I'm Brady Steer.
And I'm Ry Godde. On today's episode, we're diving into pressure and performance.
Didn't you love that little hesitation I had there? Just kind of like, a little technology.
Keeping me on edge there.
I'm here, I promise. Yeah, I think just the season we're in, I want to jump right into it because one of the biggest things happening right now, or coming up, I should say, is the NCAA Football College National Championship, a place where it's one of college's premier athletic events, but also has a ton of pressure involved with it for the players, for the coaches, for people involved in the teams. So I'm really excited for it. I'm stoked. It's high stakes. It's all or nothing. It's like all millions of people are going to watch. It's just going to be great. So there's a lot of pressure on the athletes and coaches. That's what we're talking about today. And I'm just curious, Ry, your experience as an athlete, as a coach, where in sports have you felt this kind of pressure to perform? And where do you think other athletes often feel this pressure to perform?
Don't you love talking about pressure? Everyone likes to talk about it, but no one likes to feel it. I
would say, arena.
Yep, get in there, baby. But I would say I hate to admit it, but I was never that good with pressure in college athletics until probably my last year. And I'm like, that was the worst because I feel like I finally started figuring it out a little bit. But I never was good at feeling the weight of, I tend to be a people pleaser. And I think that played into my sports performance because my biggest fear was letting my teammates down. It wasn't even like that I would fail. Mm-hmm. It was but if I strike out, and it just happened to me in slow pitch the other night. Get this.
It's still happening.
It's still happening. I literally was I'm past that. I've reached a new level of humility. We go into the game and we play it just for fun now because it's slow pitch, whatever. And I'm subbing for a team. It's the bottom of the seventh inning. And slow pitch doesn't go all seven, but basically take it it's the bottom of the last inning. And I am subbing for this team. So the pressure's on a little bit. I'm like, okay, I have to do well. Otherwise everyone's going to hate me because I just showed up to play for this game. And it's playoffs. If we win this, we advance to the championship. We're down by 3. There's a runner on first. The guy before me played in Major League Baseball, so of course he gets on. There's 2 outs. He gets on. Okay. I'm like, I knew this was going to happen. I knew it was going to come down to me. So what do I do with it? I'm walking up to the plate. I'm like, okay, Ry, you either do well. And for the first time in a long time, I said a prayer before my at-bat. I haven't done that since college. And I was like, Ry, you're God, literally...
let's go.
You're literally praying before a slow pitch game. Is this crazy or is this crazy? But I was we're going to do it. This. And just like I did in college, I was like, all right, Lord, please help me get a hit. But if not, it's your will. And thank you for the humility. And I guess he decided humility was in the cards for me that day because I did not get on. I got out and we lost and we did not advance the championship. So nothing has changed for me.
Ry, I don't want to ask this, but I have to, and I'm sorry if it hurts even more. You didn't strike out, did you?
No. Okay,
because striking out in slow pitch is tough.
It's terrible. I've done it once before, and this team that I was playing for, they have a 2-2. And if you strike out, you wear the 2-2 for the whole, until someone else strikes out or until you get out again or until you get another at bat. So that was terrible, embarrassing. I was playing shortstop with a 2-2 on. I was like, this is going to happen before.
That's not your style. I know you.
But no, I didn't strike out. I am still just getting used to the strike zone of slow pitch. If any listeners out there,
it's unique.
And every ump does a little different. So I did let a strike go by. And then I was kind of between a rock and a hard place because I didn't know if I should swing at the next one or let it go. And I was like, well, I don't want to strike out watching in slow pitch. So anyway, I did not. So all of that to say, pressure did get to me again. And I didn't handle it always that great in college, and I do think that would have made me a much better athlete if I would have been able to.
But you highlighted it where yours was coming from wanting to please your teammates. It could be, not wanting to fail for them, but it could also be as simple as wanting to be liked by them. If you're new or you're a transfer or whatever it is, there's other relationships too, where it's like, I want to get approval from my coach, or I want to make my parents proud.
Yeah, parents.
And it's like in those situations, it all makes sense, but it's all a little bit disordered, where it's like your identity doesn't come from if you do well here. It comes from God. And so it should be secondary. It's like, it's natural to want to do good and want people to like you. But if you're feeling that sense of pressure and it's like a negative pressure because wanting to let other people to like you, that's where it's like, that's what we're talking about today. It's like, okay, how can we reduce that so we can actually play more free, which allows us to play better.
Right.
I
and
have some more thoughts.
With it.
Yeah, exactly. Have fun with it.
Well, and
where
on
else
that,
do you feel
like,
pressure?
Well, that's what I was going to say on that. Like, if there's, like, why do we feel pressure? Like, I kind of want to dive into that a little bit, because it's like, okay, we named that of like, to let down your teammates. I think some people feel pressure because their fear of failure. But kind of, maybe what other reasons might we feel failure? I'm just kind of like, let's dive into this.
I'm thinking, I know I kind of just said this already, but like, if I'm more worried about what they think versus what God thinks, that's going to give me more pressure. And that's kind of like where it comes from. It's like, is my identity in that, or is it in with God? And I don't think, and we'll get into this too, so I'm not trying to jump topics, but I'm like, pressure is not always a bad thing. It can heighten our senses. It can get us going. It's actually probably usually a good thing, but but to where does it come from? It's like, it comes from my lack of confidence in who I am. Yes. Let's just put it this way. If I'm playing kickball against a bunch of kindergartners, I have no pressure, because I'm like, dude, I can hit a bunt and I'm going to get home. It doesn't bother me. But it's just like, if I'm playing slow pitch softball and behind an former MLB player, I'm like, shoot, I got to perform now. And so now there's pressure.
And there's a level, that's a good point, because there's a level of expectation there for you. Like, I show up to slow pitch softball. I'm a former D1 softball player. So everyone's like, she is good. And they just like expect me to come through in the bottom of the seventh, and it's like, so I definitely think your status or your level of play have to do with that. And it's interesting, because I wonder when the first time we felt pressure was, like, because like you said, like playing against a bunch of kindergartners and kickball, like I never remember like feeling pressure. And I think if you watch little kids play still, you don't really see them like freaking out about like, I have to get this done. And Jesus says to be like little children. So I think there's an aspect there too, but I wonder where like that just started coming from, and maybe we're getting into
this is good. But this actually kind of brings me back to the first question about like, where have you felt pressure? I'm thinking, okay, where does this come from? Where did we first feel it? I'm thinking, when I was little, we end up doing well in tournaments. There is pressure in the championship games, or you're playing your rival or another good team. Like, all right, now there's some pressure because I want to beat them. Like, it's a rivalry. I'm also thinking personally, and I think a lot of athletes listening to this can agree with this. When you start keeping stats, you start having more pressure, because you're like, oh, I need to score another basket to keep my double-double streak going, or whatever it is. And now you're stat chasing instead of actually playing the game free, playing as a good teammate, or even being disappointed in a win because you didn't score as many points as normal. I remember there was a time in high school where my coach this was a good moment. I didn't always have good moments, prideful growing up, but there was a time in high school where we played a really bad team. Our team won by a bunch in basketball. I was like one of our best players. I scored 4 points. And the coach was like, you could have 34 points tonight. And I was like, I just wanted everybody else to score. It actually ruined my average because I only scored 4 points against a garbage team. But it was like, okay, my identity was not in the stats at that point. I was like, let's go.
Wholesome.
But then I got to college and I was always like, I'm only getting like 8 minutes a game. I need to play more. Like, what is happening? I'm going to look bad on the stat sheet. And it's like,
right. Yeah. That's so wholesome. That's also just an interesting, a great example, because it's like, when did we start caring so much? And as you were talking, like some of that, well, one stat chasing, and we can get back to that in a second, but also I think part of this is just competitive nature. Like all of us athletes have it. Like, and I talk about competitiveness a lot because my whole family is severely competitive to a fault. But it's like everything, right? It's like everything in moderation. Everything needs to be balanced and ordered. And competitiveness can be really bad. And it also can be good. Like, it can be a gift. And I'm starting to learn to just be grateful for being a competitive person, even though I think it's been something that's kind of like annoyed me about me a lot of my life. But I'm saying that because I think the pressure starts to come in because you're competitive. It's not even like fear of failure. It's not even fear of like, oh my gosh, I'll let other people down. It's like, I know I'm better than this and I need to be better than this. Like, I need to win because I need to win. Like, I need to beat this person because I need to win. And I think that a lot of the pressure comes from that too.
Like, we're good as athletes at tipping our cap when somebody's like, you know what? Good job. They actually dominated us. I remember the old Deflategate with Tom Brady or whatever. I remember talking to, or no, I didn't talk to him personally, but I was listening to this guy on, I think it was against the Ravens. I might mess this up now. But anyways, the lineman was like, guys, we lost by like 30 points. I don't care if the balls were deflated. They just crushed us. I was like, that's a pro right there. He wasn't complaining. He was like, dude, they kicked our cans. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, like, this is not.
Who cares?
Well, since you talked to Tom Brady personally, can we get him on the podcast?
Yeah.
Just get him.
Yeah, you bet. Yeah, you bet. Yeah.
Talk about pressure since he's so good at that.
I saw this example. I knew we were going to talk about pressure, and I saw this thing, and it came up in my mind, and I went to go look it up. And I got so confused, but the reason I got confused is because this thing happened twice. So the Euro Championship for soccer for England in 2020 or 2021, and then also in 2024, they got second, and they haven't won the EuroLeague thing in like 55, 60 years.
Dang.
So they got second both years. But the video is when they received their medals, most of the players received them, took them off right away, and like walked away as they were like receiving the medals. And like that's a whole nother conversation about like competitiveness, sportsmanship, things like that.
Yeah.
Where I was like, there's part of it where you're like, yeah, because you didn't win and you're better than that. There's other part of it like, you tried your hardest. Your identity isn't if you get first or second or last place. Like, your identity should be in like, did you try your hardest? Did you play fair? Was it whatever?
Yeah.
Bro, they're almost protesting getting second because they weren't like, I'm better than this. I'm too competitive. I'm good enough. But like the pressure of that stage got to them where you could argue where it was almost like unsportsmanlike to not actually receive the position you earned in the sport.
Yeah, because that's like a diss to like first place people too. That's like you're saying you weren't like, it's just, like poor sportsmanship because you're not even taking the medal of second place, basically admitting I did not get first. Like, you're just saying like, yeah, that's just poor sportsmanship in general. But I think you brought that up too, and it reminds me of being a coach of like a lot of times after games, it's like I had one of my girls tell me today that she had a travel ball tournament over the weekend. I said, how'd you do? She said, I like had a really bad like hitting weekend. And I was like, okay, what does really bad hitting weekend mean? And she's like, I just like didn't get on. And I was like, okay, but you didn't get on, but what did your at-bats look like? What did your preparation for the game look like? What did did you strike out? And it ended up being that she actually had a pretty good at-bats, pretty good weekend at the plate. She just didn't see those, like you're saying earlier, those stats hit. And it's just like, what do we measure our success by? Like you're saying, did we give it our all? And that's what I try to tell my kids, especially now in high school. I'm like, did you give it your best? Did you learn something from that? Are you going to get 1% better the next time you're at bat? And if those answers are yes, then it's like, all right, I can't be mad at you. Can't complain.
No pressure. Exactly. We mentioned like pressure can be a good thing, and everything that's good comes from God. So what do you think? Do you think pressure comes from God? Or maybe I'll ask, do you think God pressures us?
Dang, you have good questions today, Brady.
That was a good one. I know.
No, I don't think God pressures us. I think it'd be the same as a father putting his kid in sports. So he gives them the opportunities, the gifts, the capability of playing a sport, right? And it'd be the same as a father watching his kid in the bottom of the seventh inning of the World Series. And obviously he wants his kids to succeed. But he also, a good father, knows that if his kid doesn't succeed, he's going to love him the same. And he's going to know all of the process that went into him being that hitter at the bottom of the seventh. Does that make sense? Like he he doesn't place his kid there on purpose to say, I want you to be pressure. I want you to know pressure. He just watches it and hopes for the best, or like whatever's going to happen, he's going to see in the same. Would you have a similar answer to that?
Yeah. What comes to mind, because obviously I asked the question, so I've thought about this a little bit before. So a little bit of cheating here, but I'm thinking about, okay, if God gives us the ability to be good athletes, to put us in these situations, those are gifts that come from him. And I'm thinking, the parable of the talents. He gives somebody 10 talents, somebody 5, somebody 1. Yeah. And you could argue there's pressure on us to like produce good fruit, but it's from the gifts that he's already given us. He's just asking us to use them and to use them for his glory. So it's like, there's no pressure in having to win, having to get a hit, having to never force an error. But the negative in that story, the drawback that he would get upset about, is that you didn't do anything with it. Like, at least put it in the bank so that it gains like investment money or whatever. And it's just like, hey, if all else fails, like, play some slow pitch softball. If you're not going to join the big leagues, at least do something with the hitting ability. Come on.
Well, and that's a really good point. And this probably can be for a later episode, maybe when we interview like a retired athlete or something. But I think that is a big hardship for athletes who like retire or come out of college. Like, at least for me too, is like, one way I could tangibly use my gifts in college was I was doing like my most knowledgeable gifts that I have are in athletics. Like, I'm like, God clearly gave me gifts in this. And so it was so easy for me to use those so tangibly in college athletics, like witness to my teammates or whatever that was. But then when I got out of it, I was just like, what do I do with this? And obviously I'm coaching now and doing other things in athletics, but a lot of athletes leave college and never really return to sports until their kids maybe play or whatever. So I think that would be an interesting topic for future discussion of like, how would you use those talents in athletics outside of athletics,
Mm-hmm. And hopefully through this podcast and through people's experiences, you can learn about yourself and learn about life through sports. It's one of the things that, whether you're religious or not, people talk about like, sports taught me life lessons. It's like, at the end of the day, if you're not going to use your sport anymore, you can at least use those lessons to instill them upon your kids, other kids, being a good coach, things like that. Yeah.
Well, I'd love to continue that conversation. Like, let's write this down, because I want to kind of explore that in later episodes. But kind of back to your point, I was thinking about this conversation I had the other day with my spiritual director, and we were talking about, I loved what he said. And follow me here. I haven't pre-thought this, so let's see where this goes.
Here we go.
But I love what he said. He said, you have been baptized into a battlefield. You've been baptized into warfare. And basically, we're basically in a breach. Like, you're in a breach with your fellow teammates, people who are fighting the battle with you. And sometimes there's like, pause in the battle. And then you like peek your head up, bullets flying. Like, they see you, bullets flying everywhere. But you have to advance the next breach. And you kind of have to keep going. And that's like the spiritual life, is like, you poke your head up, shoot. Bullets are flying. We got to advance. As you advance, bullets are flying everywhere. And so as we're kind of talking about this, I'm like, wow, that's pressure in itself, is like the spiritual life. And like you said, the talents, like the parable of talents, like it is pressure to get to that next breach. And so not only are we like under pressure during athletics, but we're also under pressure pretty much every day of our life, in the spiritual life, if you look at it wrong, right? Like, if you look at it as like, oh man, like if I do not advance this next breach, I am dead, which is true. And so I think like, but if you look at it as just like, you see in the next breach, you see in your goal ahead, you running that race for eternity, right? You've competed well, you finished the race. Like, if you look at it that way and you bring as many with you as you can, like, it doesn't become as much pressure, but it's still the same amount of pressure, but it's like the good kind of pressure. Does that all make sense? I'm going with this on the fly, so I'm like, wow, this is coming together in my brain. I don't know if it is in yours.
No, I love it. I think this is going to connect. All right, so obviously,
okay, let's try.
I'm going to try to connect it. Hopefully, the audience isn't like, what?
Yeah, sorry guys if I lost you there.
I like it. I love that visualization. I love any type of war analogy because I think it is true not only for athletics but also the spiritual life. And it's just like, love it. Because, hey, if God's real, so is the evil one, which means there's a battle going on. We often believe in God, but we don't think about the other side. It's like, God's real. It means something else is real. Come on, figure it out. But I wrote this down, and I think this connects well. Apologize if it doesn't. But I saw an article from Psychology Today. They did a blog article in August of 2025 about coping with pressure. Okay. So it's a solid article. It gives a lot of good advice for athletes on just how to cope with pressure well. Some things it talks about is, adopting calmness rituals, simulating scenarios before they occur, control the controllables, have intentional recovery, all these things. I was like, this is all really solid advice. But the one thing that stuck out to me is like, they missed the number one thing, which is God.
Yeah.
If you want to cope with pressure, have your relationship with God be in a solid place. Spend time with him. Have your identity with him. I know we've talked about this before, Ry, even probably offline, but it's more so like, you said it in the beginning today. You're like, I'm going up to hit. I can actually pray to God about my sport. I can actually pray that I want to do well here. I can actually say, thank you if I get a hit, but also thank you if I don't. And if you want to give me some humility, I'll take it. Help me to take it with grace. Help me to understand your plan. And for sports like softball, like baseball, where you fail 70, 80% of the time you're up to bat, you need to be in a good relationship with them there. So I'm thinking, I have this written down, right? Like having your identity in God be the number one thing, recognize that you're playing from a place of love versus playing to try to earn love. Yeah. Is where to go. So I think that kind of connects with what you were saying.
Yeah.
It's a stretch.
I think it does too. No, I could go on. Yes, I do think it connects. And kind of like you're saying, these little moments, like in the sport, right? Train us for virtue, train us for, like you said, like you said, in walking up to bat, right? Is like, Lord, like here's an opportunity in the game that I'm placing my identity in you and not in the sport. 1, 2, I'm taking this as an opportunity to grow in virtue. Whether that is both ways of success or failure are humility, because if I succeed, I'm recognizing that was God and not me. If I fail, that's also God. That's a growth in humility to recognize like I'm not all that. And all of this is where I'm going to connect it. All of this is training for warfare. Like all of this is growing in virtue, in the humility, in self-discipline, in whatever it is that sports gives us to train. Those are used in our spiritual life. Those are used in our everyday life. Those are used in order to compete well, to finish the race, is those virtues that we're learning. Like the sports are training us for warfare. And to maybe extend on your point a little bit, in the psychology report that you're reading, is like you're saying all these like the book I have on my shelf right here, it's Mental Game of Baseball, and it says the same thing like you're saying. It says, make pressure a good thing, make it positive, like learn to like make you feel excited and not nervous. Like it says all of those things, but it doesn't add the spiritual component of it. It's like mental, physical, but it doesn't. Yeah, it totally misses it. But aren't we whole beings? Like, aren't we mental, physical, spiritual? Like our bodies are full beings. And so we need, like you're saying, that spiritual component to drive that home, to actually get all of that together.
Yeah, and so like you mentioned going from one bunker to the next, the bullets flying, you're taking cover. I'm thinking, okay, that's true physically. That's true in the spiritual life. Put in a sport example. I'm thinking of the Wayne Gretzky quote, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. It's like you need to have the confidence, take your pressure off yourself that you're going to miss the shot. A lot of people don't even take the shot because they're afraid about missing the shot. And Wayne Gretzky would say, you've already missed it because you never even took it. Like you can't make it if you don't shoot it. Or even the best basketball players of all time have literally missed thousands of shots. But if they had so much pressure on them that they were so worried about performing well that they never took it, then how are they ever going to be successful? And again, similar in their spiritual life, similar in growing in your virtue and faith. I mean, even you and I in this podcast, we weren't professional podcasters before we started this.
If you can't tell already.
Yeah, right. So it's like, all right, there is some pressure in doing this well because we want to represent Focus and Varsity Catholic well. We also want to, number one, represent God well and give you guys something that's actually relatable and useful that you can take with you. But it's like, okay, there's some pressure to perform in order to do something that's useful and that's something you guys can take away. But at the end of the day, God's the one that's going to open up the hearts and make this work anyway. So whether we do good or bad, he'll take it where he wants it to go.
Yeah. And it's exactly what you're saying, is that use of talents and gifts of like just doing what we can and showing up. And like, I mean, to be completely honest, like Brady and I have talked about it, like I think the past 2-3 episodes we recorded, I've been like, you're always your own worst critic, but it's just like been like, are we doing this right? Can we do that? I don't know how to do this well. Like trying to figure out all those things. And like right before this podcast, I'm so blessed. There's a chapel 10 steps from my office. And I just like walked over to the chapel and I was like, Lord, I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm just giving you my gifts. Like you've given me gifts to maybe talk and to maybe try to follow a train of thought through an ADHD brain. I don't know. But like you've given me some gifts and connections and you've put me in this position. I don't know what I'm doing, but like, I'm going to let my pride go at this point. Like, I got to stop worrying about how it's going to come across, how it's going to look. You've obviously put me in this position. Now, like, use me as you will. And that was so freeing to just finally maybe hit that point. And I probably should have hit that way earlier. But I feel like I finally hit that. And it's the same in athletics. Like, I remember hitting that point in college athletics when I was just like, when I first started praying before I bats. Like, I just remember hitting a point where I was like, I am so sick of trying to live up to everyone else's expectations. I'm so sick of tracking my stats and maybe looking at them and seeing, did I fall in them or did they go up? Or I'm sick of worrying about the person behind me. Are they going to take my position? You know, all these different things. I remember I just hit this moment right before I went up to bat. And I was just like, all right, I'm taking a knee. I'm praying, like, whatever you want to do with this, Lord, it's yours. And I don't even remember the outcome of that at bat, to be honest. But I know for the rest of that year, every at bat I kneeled down in prayer before I went up to at bat. And it was so free. Like, it was the best year that I had because I just got to play and I wasn't worried about the outcome. And sure, there were still stressful situations, like still times in playoffs that I got up to bat. And there's a picture that I love. It's my last career at bat. And it's of me kneeling. It's me kneeling down. I just, the outcome of that at bat didn't even matter to me. It was just like, here I am. Like, I give you my whole career and I give you thanks for all of it and for all the ways that you've led me here in this moment. And I don't really care what happens here. Just like take my career because it was my last at bat and I kind of knew it was going to be. And so I just love that picture.
They're like the most honorable things looking back on too, is like in the moment, you know, what's typical, right? If you ask somebody, hey, who won the state championship in X 2 years ago? Everybody's like, I don't know. It's that in the moment, it's the biggest thing. But afterwards, you're like, nobody either cares, nobody remembers, whatever. Right. And I'm thinking, okay, the honorable people, when you look back on it, are the things you remember. I know they either did it already or they're going to do it. I actually am not sure on this, but the NBA is changing the rule where if it's like within a certain time period at the end of a half, the first half, if you like chuck up like, you know, full court 3 just to like try to make a buzzer beater before the quarter or whatever, that they're not going to count it against your stats. And Steph Curry, I'm not saying we endorse him or not, but he was like, what? I mean, who cares? Like, who cares if like you missed a 3? It's like, but he's the best 3-point shooter ever. And so he's like, guys, just shoot the ball. Who cares about your stats? Like, maybe that's why it makes you so good, is because you shoot the ball and your confidence is going to go in. It's like, why people care about their stats so much that they have to change the rules so you can huck up 3s at the end of half so it doesn't count against your stats. It's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, and I mean, it all just comes back to the stats, and a lot of times it's because people are like worried about getting their position taken from them. Like, it's all comes down to like you, like me. Am I being selfish? Like, what do I get out of it? What are people gonna think of me? How will this make me look? I can't really think of anything else other than the pressure comes down to focus on self. And if we can like reorient that to be focused outward, of I am using my gifts as the Lord wills, whether that's sitting on the bench, whether that's getting the game-winning hit and giving him glory after, whether that's whatever it is, it needs to be other-oriented. I don't know. Yeah.
I like that. I want to, if I can have your approval here, I want to dive into some scripture.
Please.
Because I think we've been talking about this, and I think everything we're saying is true as much as it can be coming from our mouths. But Philippians chapter 4 actually kind of, I think, gives a good example of how to actually do this well. That's also biblical. So I'm going to read Philippians 4 through 8, and I just kind of want to break it down a little bit, and then we can kind of just discuss it
please.
a little bit. So it says, "Rejoice in the Lord always. I shall say it again, rejoice. Your kindness should be known to all. The Lord is near. Have no anxiety at all, but in everything, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, make your requests known to God. Then the peace of God that surpasses all understanding will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is gracious, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things." So I want to break that down just a little bit. Starts by saying, like, rejoice. Okay, we're starting off with a happy, joyful mindset. All right. But then it goes right into, like, have no anxiety at all, have no worries at all. As an athlete, does that sound realistic? It's like, I'm always worried about the next play, the next game, the next year, the off season. I remember it's like, oh, what's going to be in the 6 a.m. workout tomorrow morning? Like, I'm nervous.
Worried about injury, like
worried
there are
about
a lot
injuries,
of things. Yeah.
Right? But he's saying don't worry about anything. That includes you athlete and you and your sport, you coach, all these things. Okay? Then he goes on to say, by prayer and supplication, by prayer and petition, make your requests known to God. So he's saying, all right, don't worry, pray about it. Like, actually bring your sport to God. Hey, I want to win this week. I want to do well. This is why. This is how I'm feeling. I'm nervous about this. Like, be honest, be legit about it.
Yeah.
Next line talks about, basically he's talking about be at peace, the peace of God that surpasses all understanding. Now it's saying, like, all right, don't worry, pray about it, and then be at peace. Basically saying, let God take it from here. You've brought it up to him. You know that he loves you more than anybody that loves you. He wills your good. Like, you can trust him in this situation. So don't worry, pray about it, be at peace. And then the last kind of chunk is, whatever is good, whatever is, you kind of lose your breath talking it. But it's basically saying, like, what praises God? Think about those things. Like, keep that on your mind. So you've prayed about it, you're at peace, now you're playing the game. All right, what's going to honor God when I play today? What's going to honor God when I practice today? How can I honor God by riding the bench? How can I honor God by sitting here in the corner with my crutches as I'm injured listening to this podcast? Like, Philippians 4 kind of captures, we don't need to have pressure, especially negative pressure, because we have talked to God, we have a relationship with him, and we know that he wills our good. We're leaving it up to him, and we're going to glorify him no matter what happens. So I'm going to leave that. You take it however you want.
Shoot. I just feel like I went to a Bible study. Thank you. In the best way. No, the only thing I can kind of come off of that, like you said, like, your relationship, your identity, and kind of to go back to that kind of analogy I was talking about earlier when you asked, like, does God put pressure on us? And I said, no, I think he's just the dad in the stands that is, like, put their kid in the situation. Like, I remember after I would have good games or bad games, my dad was very, like, he's just not, I said my family's very competitive, but my dad is the least competitive out of everyone. And he's just very, like, you win or lose, great job, kid. And there was, like, I just remember, like, I'd get in the car and my dad basically, like, did you have fun? And I'd be like, yeah, or no, or whatever. And he'd just be like, cool, good. And, we'd go get, my mom was there too. We'd go get, like, food after the game or whatever. And it's like, I think that is, can we all become that kid again of just, like, no matter where you're at in college athletics or in whatever athletic stage you're in, high school, and maybe your parents aren't like that, whatever. But can we just, like, get in the car or AKA go to the chapel after games and just sit there and be like, gosh, that sucked. Or, like, gosh, that was a really good game for me, or whatever the outcome was, and just kind of, like, turn into that kid that's in the back seat, and it's like the dad's like, did you use your gifts? Did you have fun? And you're like, yeah, no, whatever. But it's like just a conversation with dad of like, I love you and you did good and you used your gifts and you'll get them tomorrow, you know? Like,
yeah.
That is
Jesus, through God the Father, he wants us to be like children to enter the kingdom of heaven.
Yeah, exactly. So
there's the Little League World Series. There's MLB players that play in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, not in the actual little field, but a field nearby, once a year during this time. So all the kids that are at these games, all the players can go watch the MLB team. So it's usually the Philadelphia Phillies and somebody that they're playing. And there was a guy, I can't remember who it was, but they were interviewing him, and he's just a nice guy. Sorry, an MLB player, not just a random guy. They're interviewing him, and he said, any advice for these kids? And he just said, like, be 12. Like, enjoy being the age you are. Like, play, have fun. It almost, like, harkens back to everything we're saying. It's just like, when did this pressure start? He's like, dude, you're 12 years old. Play free. Have fun. It's like, I just thought that meshed perfectly with what you were saying there.
No, I love that. It's like something in my heart just like melts when you said his answer, because it's like, gosh, like what I would give to go back and to be 12 and to just play, and then to keep that throughout high school and college, and just like you again use the gifts that God gave me. Like, he made me good at athletics and good at softball, and like if I could have trusted that and just trusted my identity, things would have been a lot better for me. So if you're still young, use that. If you're coaching, coach that at me. And if you're if you're in college, just try to incorporate that. Try to go to the chapel before your game. Try to go to the chapel after your game. Try to like go to Mary too if you need to. Like if your dad maybe was a super harsh competitive one, and you're like, my mom was always the one after the games that was like, it's okay, honey, get them tomorrow, go to Mary. But like, she knows what talents you have, she knows what gifts you have, and she wants to meet you there too, and bring you to her son. So carry a rosary in your bag. I don't know, whatever you need to do. There's a lot of ways to do it, and I hope we get more into those throughout these podcasts, so that you don't end up like us, two washed up athletes are like, I wish I go back and do it.
That's right. That's why we can talk about it, though. I mean, that's one thing. This will be a whole nother topic. I've heard it said before, and I absolutely love it. And we can dive into it. But it's like, you often hear about people glorifying God when things are going well. But like those that are glorifying God through the tough situations means even more. Because it means your relationship with God, your joy, your happiness isn't just based on if things are going well.
Amen.
But I do want to say, like, the world will tell you all these things on how to cope with pressure, and pressure isn't always negative. It can amp us up, get us going. You need to reframe your mind around it. But number one thing is, like, your pressure is reduced when your relationship with God is increased. And it's just like, if you want to play free, we are mind, body, soul, the complete being. And so we need to have that whole relationship with God at the forefront, if you will. We need to be an all-encompassing total athlete. So any final thoughts today, Ry?
Say it louder for those in the back, man. That was good. I love it. Mind, body, soul. Let's go.
There's nobody in the back. We don't have that many fans.
Yeah, literally. Thank you for being here if you're here. Thank you. Thank you.
Just $6 Minnesota Twins game, and just go wherever you want because stands are. No, I'm from Minnesota. I can say that. But yeah, okay. I think that's going to be a wrap for the Varsity Catholic Podcast today. Check out more of what we do on Instagram at Varsity Catholic, and always be sure to share this with a friend, share this with a teammate. Really want to make sure you guys stay engaged with us. So use those like, follow, subscribe buttons to follow us, to, not only keep up with what we're doing, but also to help others realize there is purpose beyond the game. There's more to this than just the game. So always remember to compete well, finish the race, keep the faith.